I think there had to be some kind of mistake when they were coming up with the price for this watch, and I personally encourage you to take a full advantage of that mistake. There are no corners cut here, okay, maybe some, but those really don't matter in the grand scheme of things. And what's annoying is that this watch looks every bit as good as the one that inspired it. But if you think that I didn't find anything here that I could complain about, well, you probably haven't watched my reviews before. Hello and welcome back. So just in case if you are not familiar, this Militado is a homage to a Hamilton watch that featured in a very popular sci-fi film Interstellar. To be honest, for me, just because the watch was in the movie or went to the moon is not always enough, or rather definitely not enough incentive to go out and buy it. There are two more additional ingredients to that formula. The watch definitely needs to be affordable, and the most important bit, I actually need to like it, otherwise what's the point? And to evaluate if this Murph homage will appeal to me, I of course needed to get close and personal with it, so I decided to buy it. However, Militado marketing team was one step ahead of me and offered to send me this watch for review, which I kindly agreed. And for full disclosure, no money change hands. I do get to keep this watch though, and as per usual, in return I'll do my best to share a comprehensive review of this timepiece, and of course all the links where you can find it will be in the description of this video. Okay, so before we continue looking at the design, and we will have a few interesting things to unpack there, let's talk about the price. As I mentioned at the start, the price doesn't exactly make sense, so no wonder Militado ran out of stock shortly after they released this watch. Normally priced as low as $70, this timepiece can be found priced as low as $65 during the sales, and with a very sound set of specifications, you can't blame me for being suspicious about the build quality and materials on this watch. And we will examine all that in details shortly. Militado sells this timepiece on their website and of course on AliExpress, in case if this is your preferred shopping platform. Now, quite confusingly, Militado listed this watch as one of their colorways for ML08, a vintage black option. Personally, I think this watch is different enough to have its own reference number, however, not the end of the world, just take care when selecting it to make sure that you get the right watch. So let's talk about the design. Well, Militado really shouldn't be getting any credit here. However, to be fair, they did do a couple of very useful changes. Like for example, we are getting here a screw-down crown compared to a push-pull on Hamilton. We also get a decent anti-reflective coating on this very good double-dome sapphire crystal. And we get Seagull's smooth sweep quartz VH31 movement, which I think is a perfect match for this field watch, especially at this price point. This movement gives us the aesthetics of a mechanical watch with the precision and dependability of quartz, giving us ± 15 seconds per month accuracy and about 2 years of battery life. However, we also need to point out what we are not getting here compared to the Hamilton watch. We are not getting Hamilton automatic mechanical caliber H10 with impressive 80 hours of power reserve, there is no exhibition window on the back of the case, and of course, we are not getting here the Hamilton watch, which is probably the one you want if you're after a timepiece with iconic movie heritage. But turning back to our Militado here, we still need to get to the bottom of what actually level of build quality we are getting here for such a sharp price. And yes, what exactly did I find to complain about on this seemingly perfect watch? So the dimensions are pretty much as we would expect on a 38mm version of Murph Homage. Case width is 38mm, case height is 10.5mm, which is actually about half a millimeter slimmer than Hamilton watch. Lug width is 20mm, so we can have a lot of fun swapping and changing the straps here, and lug-to-lug distance is 43.9mm, very well managed and makes this watch suitable for pretty much most wrist sizes. And as supplied on this NATO style strap, this watch weighs only 58 grams, nice and light. Okay, without beating around the bush, the case here is very good. We have full 316L stainless steel construction, the fixed bezel has high polish finish, and the top of the case has a circular brushing and longitudinal brushing on the flanks. As I pointed out earlier, this watch features a screw-down crown, which together with a scroll back case allowed Militado to declare a very practical 100 meters of water resistance, which should be suitable for swimming. The sterile back of the case has simple circular brushing. It is quite flat, which helps with the wrist comfort, and I also like that it can be unscrewed with a generic tool, so we can easily manage battery replacements when we need to. So all in all, it is a very well sculpted case with a very decent finishing. My only minor complaint here is the crown. It is nicely proportioned and it is a pleasure to operate, however Militado left it unsigned. To be fair, I don't recall signed crowns on any Militado watches I've reviewed, however I think a signed crown would have been a lovely cherry on the top of this really well executed case. However, a possible cherry on the top here, if we are to continue the cake analogy, is the crystal. Militado installed here a lovely double dome sapphire crystal. The crystal sits ever so slightly proud of the mirror polished bezel, and sapphire being one of the most scratch-resistant materials should help to protect this bezel from potential scratches. I did point out at the start of this review that Militado applied anti-reflective undercoating, and while I can definitely see the results of AR application, to be honest, I think they could have applied a bit more. However, at the same time, a bit of glare doesn't impact the legibility of this highly contrast dial and actually kinda gives this watch a touch of that vintage charm. And also knowing that Hamilton crystal has no AR treatment at all gives me a bit of comfort. And beneath that lovely sapphire crystal lies a not less impressive dial. As usual, no marks for originality, however Militado did an excellent job putting this dial together. Everything is printed here, the Arabic numerals also have a fair amount of lume, as we will see in a moment. Apart from a crowfoot sign, which I believe used to be or possibly still is the symbol of British military property, there are no other markings on the dial, so the dial looks well balanced and not cluttered. And very well executed cathedral-style hands complete the look. The hands are well proportioned and finished in a coarse style finishing, very similar to the hands on the watch that this one was inspired by. And hands are also well filled with lume. Talking of which, here is my usual 15 minutes lume test, and the performance is very decent. Not a diver level lume, but definitely above the average, and not something I will complain about, especially taking into account the price point of this watch. As for the strap, we have simple yet well-suited here NATO-style strap, and it is not just the military style that works so well here, it is also the strap colors that nicely match the dial tones. However, here is also my biggest complaint about this watch: the mismatch in finishing and color between the strap buckle and keepers and the watch case. I know, I tried, and this is my biggest complaint I could come up with, which says a lot how good this watch is. And of course, this watch is an absolute strap monster. It wears really well on pretty much any style strap and allows us to have a bit of fun with anything that will fit these 20mm lugs. So what's my verdict? Well, it is very much straightforward. If you like the style, go and buy it before Militado runs out of stock again, or before they change their mind and up the price on this watch. And if you think you can live with Murph long term, I would advise to look at the Hamilton too. After all, it is not that unattainable, and when it comes to interstellar memorabilia, it is actually the real deal. What are your thoughts? Well, do share with us in the comments, and don't forget to do all those important YouTube things like and of course subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thank you for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.